Is it heresy? Red card or a green card? Red means it's heresy. Green means it's not. Jesus never talked about doctrine. He just loved people.
Oy vey.
Oh, every bone in my body wants to say heresy.
Okay.
But I think I'm not gonna put it at that category. I'm gonna say green.
I'll go with green.
Okay. I saw you waiting on it.
Yeah.
It's like, what is he gonna get?
Yeah. You want to start, Nick, or?
Well, I mean, doctrine is a very specific way of doing things. I mean, Paul got into doctrine because he was trying to implement what Jesus said. Jesus was creating a new way of life, a new understanding of who God was.
Right.
I guess I wonder if he ever would have gotten into doctrine. I don't know. I guess
Traditions of man being taught as doctrines of God.
Right. I mean, he rejected that.
Right.
Definitely.
So for me, I think it's wrong on many levels. One is often how it's used, right? Jesus never got into doctrine, which is kind of a way of us trying to dismiss ourselves from the rich doctrine that Scripture has for us.
Right.
Much of it given to us through Paul. I would half agree that Jesus wasn't really doing doctrine per se. Like if you have a narrow definition.
Doctrine is a very specific way of doing things.
Sure.
Yeah.
But just about everything Jesus did and said was applied doctrine.
Okay.
And so like at the very least, like doctrine is motivating and governing so much of what Jesus is up to in the Gospels. And
So true.
And through the Gospels, by kind of reverse engineering that, we can form some really rich doctrine. And Jesus himself is like a centerpiece of the doctrine of God. Like
Right.
He's
a living doctrine, isn't he? He just sort of
There's
lives
so much to Jesus that like motivates us for doctrine and doctrinal truth that the statement itself is horrendous.
That was a horrible moment for me.
Yeah.
And I think it also misses some pretty big points.
Sometimes I feel like statements like this can make the act of loving people, the call to love people, really shallow.
Right.
Because it can feel like it's a statement that says, just don't hurt them. Don't say anything that's a doctrinal issue that's going to offend them or hurt their feelings or, or anything like that. Like, we don't need this intellectual side of the faith.
Yeah.
We just need the relational side. And that's all it is.
Especially since doctrine is so often connected to like a misunderstanding of love. And so if you are kind of under the impression that if you tell people like the proper way to live is unloving, then what motivates you to think about the proper way to live? It's doctrine. So do away with doctrine, and then we can fix this, plague in the church of people telling others how to live their life as it's portrayed and viewed. And so I can see how you're sort of thinking of that could.
I guess I'd like to say Jesus is applied doctrine, and what you were saying earlier. I think it's like just the fact that he lived it. If we think about the categories of doctrine we hear about, theology, soteriology,
All the always
eschatology, any of these categories, well, Jesus lived it out. He
He didn't write us a systematic theology book.
Right.
We don't need theology, just the Bible.
If you don't have the Bible, you don't have theology.
Yeah.
I was green the last one. I think I'm going to take the red side this time around.
I don't know what to say.
Which one are you doing? Okay. All right.
I think we disagreed more than we've agreed.
Well, you see, that's great. You don't have to always
makes for good content.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you not entertained?
Hey.
You don't need theology. At that point, what you're kind of doing is throwing away all theology, which just heresies abound at that point.
Yeah.
So the statement in and of itself, I guess it doesn't violate any original church council, but there's no way downstream from that other than just inflared with heresies left and right. That's my concern.
So I can't be right at this point. Matt's
got to change your
answer. You feel horrible.
Yeah.
No, I guess my thought is that it's almost the opposite. It's like if you don't have the Bible, you can't have theology, is my thought. So if you try to create theology without the Bible is what I was saying. It's
So to you, that statement sounded more like an order of operations?
Like you got to start with the Bible.
Yeah. You got to start with the Bible in order to do anything. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
our belief in God can somewhat, come from natural world and stuff. But I mean, eventually you come to special revelation. You have to come to the Bible, and that's where theology, I think, comes from.
Fair point. You know.
Yeah.
See, we can disagree and still be friends, right?
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
Whoa.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Nick, stop hitting Matthew.
Yeah.
That'll just be an audio version.
Yeah, that's it.
God doesn't see your sin anymore.
Context, questions.
God does not see your sin anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I would go green with that. I think.
And this is me just kind of giving the benefit of the doubt that it is a rhetorical statement.
Okay.
If we say God doesn't see your sin anymore, like technically, like the memory of sin has not eluded God's omniscience. More so that God does not hold us guilty because of our sin. Like the sins are wiped away as far as the east is from the west. And so all that, like sometimes the way people describe the removal of sin and justification and all that is kind of rhetorically, God doesn't see your sin anymore. And so like, that's fine.
Early on, I remember an illustration where it said, I'm the hand and Jesus is the glove. So he's the one who covers us. And that's the way God sees us. He doesn't see my bare hand anymore, he sees the glove. So
Yeah.
I guess I think of it, and it's got to be post-salvation, obviously. It's not just anybody anymore.
I mentioned omniscience. Should probably define that, might help.
Big words with that and sing
all
glad.
right.
Quick break.
I can't help myself. I'm just so smart. That God knows everything. That's a really important piece of theology, and to deny that kind of really gets close to heresy, if not totally heresy. God is all-knowing. And so if we say God doesn't see your sin anymore, are we saying he actually doesn't know that anymore?
Yeah.
And that statement too, like, to be more specific, like God knows everything which can be known.
Yeah.
There are some things which, like, certain statements of things that simply, like, logically cannot be known.
We have to interpret the Bible for our time.
I'll say yes. That's a good statement.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't use the word have to, especially if we're talking about like a life or death situation or whatever. But yeah, it is really important that we kind of understand the Bible for our time, not to reinterpret, but to understand it in light of our cultural moment and so forth.
This is a good statement, but I think when you get to cardinal doctrines, you have troubles.
Yeah.
Interpret is probably not the best word because there's already a subjectivity to the concept of interpretation. But the idea is like sort of what you said, there's these cardinal doctrines, these core truths that Christianity is grounded on. And those never change. And if you start to like say, oh, it's different now, that's a kind of reinterpreting. Yeah. At least kind of in the sense that I used it in that way.
But then you come up with Mormonism or
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witness or,
Yeah.
That's how we define a cult. Basically, a cult is a Christian belief, but with some kind of cardinal doctrine that has been...
Yeah, but if we, like a good example maybe of how changing times like affect theology would be, say, like we have like the Christian Protestant church, like the church in general has a pretty developed now theology of like transgenderism and how we understand male and female and where have we crossed lines here in culture and so forth. And there's a lot to be said theologically about that.
Yeah.
That truth was always there from the beginning, but it was never sort of part of our theology because it wasn't a pressing issue. Now it is. And so we've developed a theology around that. And as we talk about like developing or like the way it was phrased in your card, what was that?
We have to interpret the Bible for our time.
Interpret the Bible for our time. That's kind of how I see that being understood.
Yeah. That's a really good example. Like in the Red Letter Basics book on the subject of LGBTQ plus, what we were trying to figure out with that topic was, well, all of these words and the definitions and ideologies behind these words wasn't so much an issue when Jesus was walking around this earth doing his thing, teaching for a few years. That wasn't a cultural pressing issue that he taught on. So he explicitly doesn't have anything to say about homosexuality, at least that was recorded. However, what you were just getting at is that in the larger conversation, it has to do with male and female.
Yeah, the cardinal doctrines.
The cardinal doctrines. He did talk about that in the context of marriage. So in that, we can pull out some of those cardinal doctrines and those principles to then use that to interpret our understanding of truth now. Just live like Jesus. That is an incomplete statement. There's oh, I remember what it was. Okay. Sorry. Whenever I printed these out, this one got printed slightly lower, and so it didn't print. That's why. I remember what it was. Just live like Jesus. That's the point of the Christian faith.
Well, you can go extreme, like, you know, become Jewish and try to live like a first century Jew, or I don't know. So yeah, I think
Red card or green card?
Oh gosh.
Just live like Jesus. That's the point of the Christian faith.
I'm gonna go green.
Okay. What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know. I'll go green as well.
Okay.
So I'm really leery on the word
like
point of. That is also kind of a very obscure word. Like, is that all that the Christian faith is about? Is just like behavior modification to do what Jesus did? Like, that's heresy.
Yeah.
Like, there's more to the Christian faith. But there's a lot of things like, you know, the greatest commandment to love, and like Jesus loved. And so like modeling after him. So like the point, like that could be also kind of understood in that sense.
Go according to
Yeah, that's where I'm like, man, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's about living what Jesus has taught, so that's important. But I've been in a community which didn't try to do this particular idea, but in the Messianic community, there is a danger, and Messianic community means, you know, Jews and Gentiles living together in a community to live out the Christian life.
Yeah.
But they're doing it with the Jewish kind of overtones. They're celebrating the Jewish feasts and living the Sabbath and things like this. So you can take those and then start to try to live like a rabbinic Jew, which people did and lost their faith as a result.
Yeah.
So,
So
that I have sort of both ends.
Yeah.
And of course, it's worth noting that there's more to God's revelation in Scripture revealed to us than just what Jesus was up to.
Right.
There's also Paul in the early church and things that are there and necessary for us as Christians to have the fullness of this life he calls us to. Nothing against your book, of course, obviously. And like we've talked about this, and it's such a great starting point to talk about what does Jesus say, even to help us make sense of the rest of Scripture.
Right. Exactly.
But that's
marvelous.
I think that is where the confusion can come
Yeah.
from.
You just did something there. And I see you do this a lot. And I know you do too. But in your space of how you do apologetics, what do you mean by that? Asking that clarifying statement of like, you use this word, what do you mean by that? Like when you say this, what are you getting at there? Like that type of question, maybe a takeaway for everyone watching you guys work through these statements is you both have been doing that every single time. Like, well, it kind of depends. Like, what would this statement mean? And so you have to kind of role play in your own head of what it means and imply some stuff. But in real life application, asking that question when people are making statements like this is super important before you just go straight into an argument.
Yes.
Yeah. And as we've also talked about in these conversations, there's the what do you mean by that piece? There's also what motivates you to say that piece. Because sometimes that thing is what I'm most concerned about. You know, like you don't need theology. What motivates you to say that? Is it like you want to kind of do away with helping people live their life according to God's design?
Or if you've been bashed over the head with theology.
Right. Or is it just that you've been like in a lot of seminary settings where people like are so into like learning the particularisms of some very fine-tuned theology without any sort of love of Christ that's motivating it. Like, okay, I get that too.
Yeah.
What motivates you to say that? And like, let's talk about that, you know?
Both of you guys, the process of discerning truth is something that I love to just glean from you guys. Thank you for being with me today and hanging out.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, thank you.
I also realized that we never did formal introductions of either of you, but
No, I'm Nick.